So let's go into more detail about specifically voluntary type redefining events. For the most part, we kind of expect these to be our best case scenario in terms of trauma. This is what the person signed up for. They had the control. There was no malice. They got what they wanted. Generally speaking, we would expect these to be pretty well psychologically tolerated, barring other factors, which again we will go into in later videos. It's interesting then that in our media, most of our characters who have voluntary redefining events are actually our bad guys. We have Steve, he's on the good guy team obviously, but along with him is Schmidt, Raina, she's pretty problematic. We have a lot of these people who go through these major body altering events usually to get power. And as a culture, we're very suspicious of people who actively seek power. So other than Steve, you'll find in fiction that most of these guys are actually bad guys, which is interesting considering that most of the real-world analogs to this don't carry as much of that same stigma. Going back to the outcomes of a voluntary redefining event, you would expect these to have some of the best accepted changes. Okay? They asked for this, they got what they wanted, as long as that actually was the thing they thought they were signing up for. Obviously, Raina, for example, that's not what she wanted. She thought she was getting what she wanted, but she didn't. But she did sign up for it. Red Skull actually has a fantastic little arc if you watch Captain America 1, where he's slowly coming to accept and even celebrate the physical changes to his body following the serum. It's kind of funny to watch it through that lens, but he starts off very ashamed and self-consciously smoothing down his mask. And then we see him tearing off the mask in front of Steve and Bucky, and then later on we see him getting his portrait painted as the Red Skull. He's celebrating his bodily changes. It would be very beautiful if he wasn't also trying to, conquer humanity. Then by the end of it, he's appearing in front of all of his minions with his actual face, not needing to hide it anymore. So obviously, he didn't get exactly what he wanted, but because this is what he signed up for, he was able to eventually accept it. A couple caveats on voluntary redefining events is because the person signs up for it, they have the most accountability. So from an interpersonal standpoint, they have the most accountability for the people around them. I personally am of the impression that Bucky Barnes was not super thrilled that Steve offered to sign up to be a guinea pig. But he did. So when the person offers to be involved, not coerced, but offers to be involved, they're expected to sort of take a lot of the responsibility for whatever that outcome is. Okay, Raina and Skye have different levels of accountability for what happened with them. Because of that, people who've had a voluntary redefining event are probably under more pressure not to complain, not to bring up negative side effects. Even though, for example, Steve, Erskine, I don't know what kind of form you signed, but you clearly did not give this guy proper informed consent. We know that now he can't get drunk. Seems minor, but again, we come back to this. His metabolism very drastically changed, and he was not warned about that ahead of time. He was not warned he would have to eat 5 times as much food. Now, would Steve have said yes anyways? Yeah, I expect he would have. But even when a person gets basically what they want, if their redefining event was voluntary, you would generally expect them to kind of be told, well, you asked for this, shut up and deal with it. So there would be that additional pressure. If we want to look at real-world analogs, the most common would be, in most cases, pregnancy, right? A lot of pregnancies are wanted. They're voluntary. They definitely change a person's relationship to their body. If you don't believe me, you ask somebody who's been pregnant. Trust me, they will tell you. It changes all the systems, and even after that baby's born, it's never quite the same again, and that experience lingers with a person. Another one that's going to be generally voluntary, although in some people's cases, a case could definitely be made for coerced, would be surgeries or treatments connected to gender dysphoria. Okay, so making a person's outward appearance better match society's expectation of the gender that they are. Okay, that's very voluntary. And again, as a result, sometimes you hear people who've undergone some of these treatments sort of be told, well, if there's side effects that you don't like, this is what you wanted. This is what you signed up for. What are you complaining about? Kind of a little failing of our society. So that's voluntary redefining events. Up next, we are going to talk about accidental redefining events, which would be dear old Bruce, and also apparently Daredevil. I haven't seen that yet, but I've been told Daredevil as well, so keep watching.